Hey everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today I'm playing in the Object 430U, a brand new Tier 10 Soviet medium tank that has replaced the standard Object 430 in Update 922. Now you are taking a look at my first ever game played in this patch, and of course, equally my first ever game played in this tank. Now it's been kicking up quite a fuss. What do I think about it? Well, it's kind of like a Soviet E50M meets a T62A. It's kind of a really weird vehicle because it has so many things which is absolutely fantastic about it and so many things which are really not very fantastic about it. Firstly, let's talk about the armor. This is the most well-armored medium tank in the game, even better armored than the E50M. Well, while the E50M does have a fantastic upper plate and its lower plate is way better than the 430U, it just doesn't have that turret armor, and also its profile is rather large and the side armor is rather awkward. The Object 430U, on the other hand, has that amazing T62A style turret and 160mm of upper hull armor, which means that when you're angling this tank, you've pretty much got about 280 to 300mm of effective upper protection on that front plate, which is absolutely awesome. And you don't have anywhere where everybody can overmatch the top of your turret like they could do on the 430 or the unnerfed Object 140. The 430U, on the other hand, is the least accurate tank of any of the Tier 10 mediums. 0.4 base accuracy means that you're quite often going to ding shots up onto the upper plate there that you otherwise would have wanted to, and even the second one there seems like it wanted to try and fly high as well. Now this Bat Chatillon is playing very aggressively here, and I don't really want to let him down, so I'm going to go forwards, put around into the IS-7, but unfortunately he went absolutely bold there, and it kind of breaks my heart a little bit because, as you might have seen at the start of this replay, I was saying hi to these two fellows, and I'm trying to play as aggressively as I can, and it just seems like we're having a competition of who can be the most reckless right now. Hopefully this 430U is going to shoot me and not my T62A anymore, and there you go, the Object 268 behind us shuts down the Object 430U on the enemy team. Now this is my favorite way to play on Muravanka, and that is just aggressive through the forest. I feel that if you can surprise the tanks in the forest, shut them down, and even if you can get them to run away and flee the flank, and then you can spot them as they're running along this south corridor, you can just easily circle round and take your opponents out. However, we are now going to be going through a very dangerous section of the map. There's a leopard up there, there's probably a bat chat skulking around as well. They're going to have vision on us as we make our way through this line of attack along the south, and so you're going to see my buddy there in the T62A is going to get caught out. Looks like he is double tracked, and there's a lot of sneaky tank destroyers on the enemy team, a lot like the Stritzfang 103B, who are going to be able to catch them out. But in this kind of a round, when you have invested so many tanks in the woods, you can't stop. You know what, the T62A, it might have looked like he made a real big mistake there, but it's just a case of getting double tracked and unlucky, and how was he to know that this little sneaky bat chat was going to be getting so much good vision? Maybe the bat chat was shooting through the bushes there. Well, we don't know about that, but when you've got a Tier 10 Swedish tank destroyer on the enemy team with such a crazy rate of fire, second or third highest DPM in the game, you can't really mess around with that. Now, clearly the bat chat is reloading here, so maybe he was shooting at the T62A, and right now it's a game of cat and mouse. I'm trying to shoot the bat chat as many times as I can before he finishes his 25 to 30 second reload, but I've also got to watch out and try and keep my frontal armor towards him because he has reloaded now. He bounces the first, misses the second, bounces the third, the Stritzfang hits me in the side, he bounces the fourth. This bat chat clearly did not know about the Object 430U on the release day, and his final shell out of his 5-round magazine goes into my turret, knocking out my gun but not damaging the tank. And a quick dab of my 4 key puts my gun back into effect, and you definitely are going to want to have a working gun here and also have a gunner alive on this tank because its accuracy, as I highlighted, worst in class at the Tier 10 mediums. And so obviously this vehicle is all about just getting up close and personal. Accuracy doesn't really matter if you do manage to get stuck in. Now you'll see that I'm asking that Object 268 on my team to put pressure on the cap because I'm thinking maybe I can sit here, get vision for him, maybe the Stritzfang will rush me and I'm going to be able to then allow the 268 to get shots into him. On the Stritzfang that is maybe coming to attack me. I take a swing and a miss at the T110E4, and now I know that this is a very interesting mechanic of this tank. This is one of the 2 top-tier medium tanks with a 122mm gun. Now, the Stritzfang 103B has a 40mm lower plate, which means that I can overmatch it because the caliber of my gun is 3 times more the nominal thickness of his lower plate armor. So now we're going to be loading some heat. This heat, for the rest of the replay, I think I'm going to be firing pretty much mostly heat. Because as as you can see, we've killed the mediums. We've killed most of the lightly armored tank destroyers, and you've got T-124s, Object 268 versions 4s, IS-7s, and the E-100. These heat rounds are going to make up for the low accuracy of the tank to be able to give us an advantage here. Now, the T-124 has kind of a weak machine gun port on top of the tank, unlike the T-123. If that was a T-123, I might as well have reloaded high explosive rounds and started slinging them in, because I would be at best maybe a 1 in 3 to go through the top of that tank. So now, the enemy are advancing along the north. I have to be very aggressive here. Now, I probably could have rammed the Object 268 version 4, but that is a 100-ton tank, and my tank certainly is not weighing 42 tons before you put equipment on it. So probably not the best idea to ram that in retrospect, even though I could have taken off his remaining 11 hit points. Because obviously, while the 268 version 4 has a lot of things going for it, DPM is not one of them. Okay, some kind of random pop-up there. Somebody bought a t-shirt. Thank you so much to whoever that was. That's not meant to happen when I'm recording videos, but thank you for that. Okay, so right now we've got ourselves in a bit of a tricky scenario. Are the enemies going to camp? Well, it doesn't really matter. I can't really rush around this corner. Now we're down to a one-shot. Now the IS-4 and the Super Conqueror put premium rounds through our vehicle. However, we put one through the lower plate of the E-100. We shut him down, and I'm going to try and work with this 268. He's got the hit points, but I've got the ridgeline. So I'm stopping the Super Conqueror from going over the ridgeline and putting pressure on him, or alternatively, the IS-7 coming around the corner and shooting him in the side. Oh, great shot there into the Super Conqueror. Maybe I can finish off the IS-7. I do. Fantastic. Keep my 268 in it. Now it's a 3 versus 4, but just as soon as we shut down one IS-7, another one appears up on that ridge line. And a 268 version 4 is putting pressure on my T-110E4. Okay, so what I'm trying to do now is just have presence. Even when you're a one-shot, you are still just as capable as if you had all of your hit points with regards to your combat capacity. Now, I can't really sit in front of that IS-7. He seems to be aiming down on my upper hull armor here, so if he does get lucky with a penetration roll, he's still going to be able to go through it. So I'm darting forwards, backwards. I'm using the amazing aim time of this tank, considering that it has awful accuracy, but its aim time is amazing. So I'm trying to make use of that, never sitting still for long enough to allow them to fully aim. Okay, IS-7, Super Conqueror, advancing along that ridge. Who do I want to kill? I try and look at the 268 version 4, but that IS-7 seems to have exposed his lower plate. We come around the corner, we snapshot in, 2.3 seconds. Base aim time on this vehicle is really nice for a 122mm caliber gun, but now the 268 version 4 comes around the corner to try and pressure my T-110E4, and I'm going to try and snipe one up into the top, but the heat round bounces off the supposed weak point of that vehicle, just going towards the right. And now what I have to do is just say, well, if he's going to kill one of us, maybe the other person can get through this game. We put a heat round through his lower plate and immediately turn my attention to the Super Conqueror, who I thought would be coming over this ridge. Now, ladies and gentlemen, 9 kills in this game in a 1 versus 2 situation, albeit briefly in a 1 versus 3 situation. And I'm just hoping the Super Conqueror shoots. Fire, fire, fire. That's what I'm thinking right now. Choke the shot so I can get the easy one into his lower plate, because I'm not going to be able to pen the Super Conqueror very reliably. I guess maybe he took the swing there because he was worried that my heat rounds could be able to catch the top of his turret. So I can't really judge whether that was the correct decision or not for the Super Conqueror. But now, 10 kills into this tier 10 game against a solitary IS-4. This should be an easy shot into the lower plate, but I chance it. Bit of a misplay there. I should have hung around for an extra half a second or a second, but I wanted to get myself into cover. Now the IS-4 crests the ridge. We've got to try and find his lower plate here. He bounces one. Okay, I've got a chance. Nice clean shot into the lower plate. There we go. But the rate of fire, the DPM on this tank is not excellent, so I've got to get back over the ridge line as quickly as I can to give myself as much time as possible to put one into the lower plate. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. What a cracking start to 922. Such a shame that my next 100 games were not nearly as good as this one. But you know what? 11 kills in a brand new tier 10 tank. Oh, I was so ecstatic. That is the most kills that I've ever got in a tier 10 game. I've had 10 kills quite a few times. I've had 12 kills at tier 9. But I don't ever think 11 kills at tier 10. But maybe some of you know better. And boy, what a comeback this was. Look at this graveyard of my team, albeit they did leave the enemies on very low hit points, because I didn't even have to do 7,000 damage here to pick up 11 kills. Nevertheless, it looks like we were in the right position at the right time, and we learned a lot of things about the Object 430U and what it is capable of, although I must stress that this was on the release day of this tank, and I expect now that people are starting to understand that you will bounce off the upper hull of this vehicle, and so you either need to try and flank it, or alternatively get that lower plate, or you are going to be feeding it steel walls. So we pick up a Pools medal here for our 11 kills. We also get a high caliber for the 6,841 damage that we dealt, but just look how lucky we were with how the kills fell on our plate, ladies and gents. We only did 50% more damage than the T110E3 and T110E4, yet we kind of got like 10 kills more than them. Sometimes that just happens, but you've got to be in position to finish the vehicle as well. And we also get a steel wall medal. How much damage did we manage to ricochet? 4,550, enough to kill this tank 2 times over, and undoubtedly this vehicle got through that kind of 1 versus 1 with the Bat Chatillon way better than something like an Object 140 or T62A would have, where the tier 10 French autoloading medium tank would have just turned the front of the hull into a block of Swiss cheese. And I must stress that I lost credits even with a premium account this game. Towards the end of it, I think I was just so focused on staying alive, I probably couldn't care. So undoubtedly in this replay and all of the games that I've played in the tank recently, the Object 430U feels like the brawling monster that I kind of wanted it to be. But it also does have enough things about the tank that are kind of worst in class to sort of balance this. That 0.4 accuracy is horrific. The lower plate armor, if you expose it, is not very good at all. And importantly, unlike the other Soviet medium tanks, this vehicle has really bad DPM. The only single shot tank that is worse than it at tier 10 is, of course, the infamous E50M. But I still feel like I need a few more weeks to fully test the tank out and see if it's kind of a replacement for the 113 and the WZ 111-5A. And I'll be interested to hear what your initial opinions are of this vehicle in the comments. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, but if you hated it, give it a thumbs down. And if you're watching this video as it's released on Sunday, it's time for another World of Tanks Tech Tree Showcase on twitch.tv/QuickyBaby. And this week, 462 of you voted on the poll website, and the winner is, wow, a light tank? Fantastic. Haven't had a light tank Tech Tree Showcase in a while. It's the Rheinmetall Panzerwagen. So come along right now as I start at tier 1 and work my way up to tier 10 along the German light tank line to show you if it's a tech tree that's worth grinding, or alternatively, if you already have the tanks, maybe come and pick up a few tips and tricks along the way. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing as many of you as possible right now on twitch.tv/QuickyBaby. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.